My wife insisted on joint therapy, confident the therapist would take her side. The session ended with the therapist looking at me and saying, "Sir, you are being emotionally abused." She then handed me a card for a divorce lawyer. Original post 38 male. Never expected to be typing this out, but here we are. My wife Beatrice, 36, insisted we go to couples therapy 3 weeks ago. She was absolutely certain the therapist would validate all her complaints about me being emotionally unavailable and financially controlling. Spoiler alert, that's not how it went. We've been married 11 years. For context, I work in logistics management. Nothing fancy but stable income around $75K. Beatrice works part-time at a boutique clothing store, maybe brings in $20K annually. She's always said she prefers the work-life balance, which I supported. What I didn't support was her spending habits that consistently exceeded our budget, while she blamed me for being cheap when I suggested we stick to our financial plan. The therapy demand came after I refused to co-sign on a $45K loan for her to start a luxury candle business with her friend Gwendolyn. No business plan, no market research, just vibes and essential oils. When I suggested she start small, maybe sell at local markets first, she exploded, called me unsupportive, dream crusher, the works. "Fine," she said, "we're going to therapy so a professional can explain to you how toxic you're being." I agreed. Why not? Maybe a neutral third party would help us communicate better. First session was last Tuesday. Dr. Holloway, older woman, very calm demeanor. Beatrice launched into her prepared speech immediately. How I control the finances. I pay all bills because she doesn't do numbers. How I diminish her dreams. I asked for a business plan. How I'm emotionally distant. I work 50 hours a week and do most of the housework. Dr. Holloway took notes, nodded, asked follow-up questions. Then she turned to me. "Tell me about a typical week in your household." So I did. How I wake up at 5:30 to make breakfast and pack lunches. How I handle all bills, grocery shopping, meal planning. How Beatrice's part-time job is 15 hours a week max, but she's too tired to cook or clean. How her mom, Dolores, comes over daily to criticize everything from my cooking to my appearance while Beatrice laughs along. How I haven't seen my own family in 2 years because Beatrice always has panic attacks before we're supposed to visit them. Beatrice kept interrupting, saying I was exaggerating or twisting things. Dr. Holloway asked for specific examples. I pulled out my phone, showed her texts. "Beatrice, if you don't get me the new iPhone, I'll know you don't really love me. Your sister is such a B-word. If you visit her, I might not be here when you get back. Picked up a few things today. Photo of $800 worth of designer bags. Me, we agreed on a $200 budget for clothes this month. Stop being financially abusive." The room got quiet. Beatrice started her tears, usually works on me. Dr. Holloway handed her tissues but kept her expression neutral. "Beatrice," she said, "can you explain what you mean by financial abuse? He questions my purchases. He makes me feel bad for buying things that make me happy. From what I understand, you both agreed to a budget. Is that correct?" "Well, yes, but... And you're exceeding that budget regularly?" "That's not the point." Dr. Holloway turned to me. "How often would you say you cave to these demands?" "Almost always," I admitted. The crying, the silent treatment, her mom calling me cheap and worthless. It's easier to just give in. Beatrice smirked. Actually smirked. "See, he admits he eventually agrees, so what's the problem?" Dr. Holloway closed her notebook. "I'd like to speak with each of you individually for our next sessions. Beatrice, I'll see you Thursday. You'll come in Monday." Beatrice practically floated out of there, convinced she'd won. Kept saying things like, "See, she wants to work with me first to help you understand your issues." Thursday came. Beatrice went to her session, came back furious. "She's unprofessional. She's clearly biased. She asked me all these manipulative questions about my childhood and my relationship with my mother. We're finding a new therapist." I still went Monday. Alone. Dr. Holloway looked at me seriously. "I need to be direct with you. You are being emotionally abused. The financial exploitation, the isolation from your family, the constant criticism, the emotional manipulation, these are textbook abuse tactics." I just sat there. Part of me knew, I guess, but hearing it from a professional, she slid a business card across the desk. This is a colleague who specializes in family law. I think you should have a consultation, document everything. Texts, receipts, recordings, if legal in your state. But I'm a man, and she doesn't hit me or... Abuse is abuse. Gender doesn't matter. Violence isn't required. You deserve better than this. I took the card, thanked her, went home. Beatrice was there with Dolores and Gwendolyn, staging what looked like an intervention. We've decided you're going to apologize to Dr. Holloway for manipulating her, Dolores announced. Then you're going to find Beatrice a therapist who isn't sexist. And you're going to approve the business loan, Gwendolyn added. It's the least you can do after traumatizing her with that horrible therapy session. I looked at these three women who'd made my life miserable for over a decade. Thought about Dr. Holloway's words. The business card felt heavy in my pocket. No, one word. The explosion was immediate. Screaming, crying, Dolores calling me every name in the book, Beatrice threatening divorce, threatening to take everything, threatening to ruin my life. Okay, I said. Divorce it is. Dead silence. You can't be serious, Beatrice whispered. I am. I'll be staying at a hotel tonight. We can communicate through lawyers. As I packed a bag, Beatrice switched tactics rapidly. Anger to tears, to seduction, to threats, and back to tears. Dolores called me unstable. Gwendolyn said I was having a midlife crisis. I left anyway, checked into a budget hotel, called the lawyer the next morning. That was 6 days ago. The messages haven't stopped. Update 1. Holy hell, this escalated. Thanks for all the support on my original post. Your comments helped me realize I'm not crazy. So I met with the attorney Dr. Holloway recommended, Miss Blackwood. She's incredible. Took one look at my documentation and said, this is one of the clearer cases of emotional and financial abuse I've seen. I showed her bank statements showing Beatrice's spending, averaging $3,000 a month on non-essentials while contributing nothing to bills. Texts going back 3 years showing the pattern of manipulation. Credit card statements for cards she opened in my name without permission. Yeah, found those while gathering documents. Photos of the garage full of her inventory for 5 different failed businesses. Miss Blackwood's strategy was simple. File first, file fast, document everything. But here's where Beatrice's entitlement went nuclear. First, she drained our checking account. Took all $8,000 that was meant for mortgage and bills. When the bank called about unusual activity, she told them I was financially abusing her and she needed the money for safety. Thank God I'd already opened a separate account and redirected my direct deposit. Then came the social media campaign. Not just regular, my husband is terrible posts. She created a whole narrative about me having a secret gambling addiction. Claimed I'd lost our life savings. Said she'd been covering for me for years out of love. Posted fake evidence. Screenshots she doctored to make it look like I was on betting sites. My phone blew up. Coworkers, friends, even my brother called asking if I needed help with gambling addiction. I had to send everyone bank statements and proof that I've never even bought a lottery ticket. But the peak entitlement? She sold my truck. My 2019 F-150 that I'd paid off last year, titled in my name only. She had a spare key, took it while I was at work, and sold it to some sketchy used car lot for $15,000 cash, under market value by at least $10,000, but she needed money fast. When I reported it stolen, the cops found it within hours. The lot claimed she said she was the owner. She actually tried to forge my signature on the title. Forged it. Badly. She got arrested. Actually arrested. Dolores bailed her out same day, but still. The restraining order was granted immediately after that. Then yesterday happened. Oh my God. I was served papers, not divorce papers. That would be too normal. Beatrice is suing me for intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation, for telling people the truth about her spending, lost business opportunity, the candle thing, theft of marital assets, for opening my own bank account, and my personal favorite, conspiracy to commit psychological manipulation with Dr. Holloway. The dollar amount? $2.5 million. Miss Blackwood actually laughed, like full belly laugh. She does realize she just gave us written admission of filing a fraudulent lawsuit, right? No legitimate attorney would file this. Turns out Gwendolyn's boyfriend, Randall, just finished his first year of law school and thinks he's Phoenix Wright or something. He filed it pro se on Beatrice's behalf. It's 73 pages of nonsense, including a whole section about how I weaponized therapy. Miss Blackwood is filing for sanctions and expedited divorce proceedings based on the criminal charges and this frivolous lawsuit. Best part? Beatrice texted me from Dolores's phone, "Drop the theft charges and give me $50K and I'll drop the lawsuit. This is your only chance to make this right." That's extortion. Like literal textbook extortion. Screenshotted and sent to my lawyer and the prosecutor. She really thought she had me backed into a corner. Instead, she's speedrunning her way to actual prison time. I'm exhausted, but oddly, free? Like, seeing her true colors, this clearly is almost liberating. Update 2, the entitlement tsunami continues, but now there are consequences. Beautiful legal consequences. First, the criminal case. Beatrice was formally charged with grand theft auto, forgery, filing a false police report. She told them I gave her permission, then changed my mind. Extortion. The text from Dolores's phone. Her public defender, Randall, got banned from representing her after the $2.5 million lawsuit fiasco, tried to get her released on own recognizance. The judge reviewed the evidence, including her new scheme that happened while out on bail. Oh yeah, the new scheme. She applied for 6 credit cards in my name. 6. Using mail she was forwarding to Dolores's house. Only got caught because one company called to verify employment and reached me directly. Judge revoked bail. She's been in county for a week now. The divorce is moving at light speed because of the criminal charges. State law allows expedited proceedings when one party is incarcerated. Miss Blackwood is brilliant. But here's where the victim complex reached cosmic levels. Dolores started a fundraiser, "Help my daughter escape her abusive marriage." The description was a novel of lies about how I isolated Beatrice, controlled her money, and manipulated the legal system against her. Goal, $100,000. She raised $400, all from her church friends. Until someone, not me, genuinely, linked the arrest records and mugshot in the comments. The page got taken down within hours. Dolores tried to restart it 3 times. Each time, someone would post the actual facts. She finally gave up and pivoted to calling local news stations. One actually bit. A producer called me from my side. I referred them to Ms. Blackwood, who sent them. The arrest records, the fraudulent lawsuit, bank records showing Beatrice's spending versus contribution, a beautiful timeline of events with documentation so pure. They never ran the story. The divorce settlement negotiations were yesterday. Beatrice appeared via video from jail. Orange jumpsuit really brought out the entitlement in her eyes. Her demands, I'm not kidding. The house that I bought before marriage, lifetime alimony, half my retirement that she never contributed to, my truck that she stole and sold, $100K for pain and suffering. I pay for her criminal defense. Miss Blackwood's counter. She gets her personal belongings. She takes her debt from the credit cards she fraudulently opened. She pays ME restitution for the truck. No alimony, clean break. Beatrice exploded. Started screaming about how I ruined her life, how she gave me the best years of her life, how no one would want her now with a criminal record. The judge, different from criminal court, stopped her mid-rant. "Ma'am, you're facing serious criminal charges for crimes against your husband. The fact that he's not pursuing additional civil damages is generous. I suggest you consider the offer." But no, she doubled down. Said she'd rather go to trial because any jury would see what a monster he is. Fine, trial it is. Criminal trial next month, divorce trial the month after. Meanwhile, Dolores has been leaving notes on my car at work. Stuff like, "You destroyed our family," and "I hope you're happy ruining an innocent woman's life." I gave them to security. I'm now escorted to my car every evening. Gwendolyn tried to contact me through LinkedIn, of all places, said Beatrice was learning and growing in jail, and would I consider couples therapy when she gets out? The delusion is strong. Final update, it's over. Finally, definitively over. Criminal trial was quick. Beatrice took a plea deal at the last minute, 18 months with possibility of parole in 6, 3 years probation, and restitution for the truck. Her lawyer convinced her a jury would not be sympathetic to someone who committed fraud while out on bail for fraud. She tried to make a statement at sentencing about how I drove her to desperation through systematic psychological abuse. The judge cut her off. noting that stealing and selling someone's vehicle required premeditation, not desperation. Dolores screamed that the system was rigged against women, got herself a contempt charge, and spent a night in jail. The divorce trial was something else. Beatrice appeared in person this time, in custody. She'd gotten Dolores to hire her a real lawyer. This guy showed up in a suit that screamed, "I advertise on bus benches." Their strategy? Character assassination. They brought in 3 witnesses. 1. Gwendolyn, who testified I was cold and calculating because I asked for business plans. 2. Dolores, who called me financially abusive for not funding infinite failed businesses. 3. Beatrice's hairdresser, who said I never came to the salon with her. Ms. Blackwood destroyed them. Showed Gwendolyn's own social media posts calling me an ATM and laughing about it. Presented Dolores's texts coaching Beatrice on how to get more money from me. The hairdresser admitted she'd never actually met me and was just repeating what Beatrice told her. Then Dr. Holloway testified, professional, composed, devastating. Explained the patterns of abuse she'd observed, Beatrice's admission of using emotional manipulation to control me, the classic signs of financial exploitation. The judge's ruling: divorce granted on grounds of emotional abuse and criminal behavior. House remains mine, premarital asset. No alimony, she's capable of working, chose not to. She owes me $22,000, restitution, plus half the fraudulent credit card debt. Restraining order extended 3 years. Beatrice's lawyer tried to argue she couldn't pay from prison. Judge noted that was a consequence of her choices. As they let her out, Beatrice turned to me. No tears this time, just pure rage. You'll regret this. No one will ever love you like I did. Thank God for that, I said. Dolores had to be physically removed by security while screaming about appeals and lawsuits and calling me Satan. That was yesterday. Today I woke up at 5:30 out of habit. Made breakfast just for myself. Sat in my quiet kitchen drinking coffee without anyone telling me I was doing it wrong. My brother called. We're planning a visit next month. First time in 2 years. I'm in therapy now. Individual, with an actual therapist who helps rather than manipulates. Working through 11 years of damage. It's hard to retrain your brain to recognize that not everything is your fault. Miss Blackwood says the restitution will likely never be fully paid, but that's fine. The freedom is worth more than money. Beatrice will be eligible for parole in 4 months. Dolores has already posted about preparing Beatrice's room and planning her comeback. Gwendolyn started a new business selling resilience coaching based on surviving narcissistic abuse. The irony. Me? I'm learning what peace feels like. Turns out when you remove toxic people from your life, you discover you're actually pretty okay on your own. Who knew? To anyone reading this in a similar situation, that therapist saved my life. Not dramatically. I wasn't suicidal or anything, but she gave me permission to see what was happening to me. To name it. To know I deserved better. If your partner isolates you from family, controls through emotions, takes without giving, makes you question your own reality, that's abuse. Gender doesn't matter. You deserve better. Thanks for following this journey. I'm gonna go enjoy my quiet, drama-free evening. P.S. Saw on social media that the luxury candle business Gwendolyn started without Beatrice just failed. Apparently, $80 candles that smell like ambitious woman energy aren't the hit